Hi, my name is Ariel from the Children of Karma, and today I'd like to discuss Venus and Chiron aspects. This can be a disconnection from Venus, which is about our possessions, our self-worth, how we value ourselves, how we love ourselves, and how we love others. This can be tricky to handle because it can feel like we're not lovable or we're not worthy unless someone can love us. We can feel like we lose our sense of joy, our sense of pleasure, our ability to love ourselves even. It can feel like it's selfish or vain to focus on self, to do a little bit of self-care. I know growing up I always felt like, well, it's vain to look in the mirror. You can't look in the mirror for too long, and I always saw my mother policing, in the mirror somewhere in the corner. And it can be similar to this Venus-Saturn, Venus-Pluto energy, and Venus-Chiron, it all runs in the family. And so we can see that maybe after we inherit this from the parents, that we behave like this as well. And it's like we're learning to starve our Venus. We're learning that we don't have any value. And when we go out into the world, we find relationships that also mistreat us and devalue us as well. And somehow we're valuing the crumbs, we're not receiving a full meal from this relationship. We're not being fed. We're just receiving crumbs, and that's all we value. And it's a reflection on how we value ourselves. We can feel like we're just unworthy of love. There can be shame with the body, with our beauty, how we're seen. There's a self-consciousness there. I've had this growing up. It just felt like it was just a part of me. Always paying attention, make sure you suck in that stomach, make sure you shoulders back, chest up, and how do I look, when I'm speaking? How do I look when I'm doing a certain movement? It's like everything is policed. The movement of the body, this shows love of self. And it's like we can't even move our body in ways we're too unsure. It can really attack our sense of self, our mind. And every day we sit in that energy, we're just devaluing ourselves further. And what I found that really helped me with this is going to the root of the issue is how I value myself. Can you find things that you love about yourself? Of course you can. And even the things that we're ashamed of, I think this is where we really make the biggest change, is when we learn to embrace those parts of ourselves that we're embarrassed about, or that we're ashamed of, that the mistakes of the past, go back there and find compassion for yourself. It's something that I've been doing, going back there and saying, you know what, I understand why you moved the way that you did. I get it. And I get with the ingredients of your soup, this is what you were able to make. But now with awareness, we choose to move differently. We choose to value ourselves, and I appreciate that person, that made all the mistakes. I appreciate her because I needed her to make those mistakes to get me to this point where I know better, where I also have compassion for people who make mistakes, and it's a reflection of self. How we value ourselves is how we value others. So if we don't value others, we need to look back at ourselves and see, what is the problem here? What kind of values do we have, and how do we restructure those values, reframe them in ways that are more beneficial to us? You can see this person being the people pleaser. You can see them also, through the Venus energy, food, beauty, love, pleasure, decorating the house, for example. Do you sacrifice these things? My mother has this energy, and I definitely was repeating it for a period of time where we just didn't decorate the home, not for any holidays, not for if something was broken, it would just stay broken. With this aspect, you can find that there's a rivalry with the mother energy. The mother maybe lacks confidence. Maybe they're in a rotten marriage, for example. They lack confidence. They're losing their youth. They feel they're losing their opportunities in life, something like this. And there's an energy with that daughter, for example, and they're blocking the connection with the father due to this rivalry. They may not allow the child to win. These little wins that we get in childhood, they really build our confidence, and they're necessary. And sometimes when we're older and we get into these sort of situations, these mindsets, we can kind of starve that child of the Venus, the win, you know, that little bit of pleasure and joy. And it really ruins their confidence. With this Chiron Venus energy, you can find yourself valuing Chiron-like things. Chiron, for example, was an astrologer. He was a supporter of homeopathic medicine, herbal remedies, flower remedies. He was a chiropractor, involved with x-rays and surgeries, and also a teacher. So you value these things. You value learning, teaching others about the true value of things in life. You know, this person can see beauty in things that other people just can't see. You can be interested in things like aromatherapy, essential oils, different alternative ways of healing. Chiron was not able to heal himself, but he did learn a lot along the way of his healing journey, and he was able to share that wisdom with others. And it's quite interesting. I'm in a similar situation. Chiron is conjunct my moon, and I have an injury that long-term effects with my bladder that just seem irreparable. I may not be able to find a solution for me, but I will learn a lot of things along the way, and I will be able to pass that wisdom on. And that gives me peace, at least. I'll be able to do something of value. Another thing to remember with this aspect is that Aphrodite represents Venus. Aphrodite is ageless. That means that beauty comes at any age. There is beauty at any age. Society in general, I think we need to let go of this. There's beauty in age. I mean, there is wisdom in the journey. Thank you for joining me for this video, and I'd love to see you at thechildrenofkarma.com so we can find out your ancestral patterns so we can work on better ways to manage them. There are also other astrological services available, as well as mindfulness and empowerment coaching if you're interested. And don't forget to like the video. Bye.